How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Ben Burnside Show, coming at to you from my home studio in Fresno. Uh, so I basically, a few days ago, I guess opening day, I saw episode 1 of season 2 of The Mandalorian on Disney Plus, and I was like, you know what? I really got to make a reaction to this, and sorry for the late reaction. I know it's Monday, but I wanted to give a spoiler-filled review and reaction of the episode while I watch it again with no volume. And this is going to be a new experiment for me on the YouTube channel. What I'm going to do is I have my TV and my Disney Plus on over here, and I'm not going to show what's on screen or anything like that. I'm going to fast forward through things and kind of see how it goes. So in that way, and kind of go from there because I want to kind of skim through the entire episode so I can give my review and thoughts in full without just going off memory because it's been a couple days. And yeah, it should be pretty fun. And I think I might do this for now on with reviews on this with this show in particular. So we'll see how this goes here. So I'm gonna put on the Mandalorian. No volume. Good. I don't hear anything. Season 2. Blah blah blah. I don't remember the cast of characters. That might be a problem, but that's okay. That's okay. I'll just say I'll remember for next time. Okay, so they're showing, they're kind of recapping what happened last season. And going into this season, I didn't know what to expect. And I was like, you know what? That's kind of cool. I kind of appreciate that. I appreciate that they are not telling me nothing about it because frankly, I don't feel like being spoiled with trailers or anything like that. I just want to see the damn movie and kind of just go from there. So, so that's kind of what I think about it. Okay, yep, and they're just continuously, and they're just still recapping here. Nothing else to note. And okay, getting to the first scene. Um, a note here. This episode was about 53 minutes long. Here's my controller. I'm gonna try to hit here. There you go. Maybe I'll do this. There you go. Have my foot on the bed here. Shit. Watch it from there. Like that. No. I don't think that will work. I don't think that will work, but I will just kind of watch it from here and go toward here. We're doing some theater blocking during the show, ladies and gentlemen, just like that. What's up? Mandalorian style. Boba. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Later. I'll talk about that later. I will talk about that later. Okay, let's see here. So Mando, we're seeing right here. He's in the he's basically in like a unknown town, unknown world. Doesn't really matter with Baby Yoda. They're trying to meet with a guy. I guess like some sort of a drug lord or a drug dealer who knows a lot of things, or at least the intel that he's looking for. And this is pretty dope. There's like a cool what do you call those pig what do you call those pig warriors or those pig guards that were in Jabba's palace? Two of those soldiers are fighting in a ring with axes. So that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool, I must say. So the drug lord and his goons are kind of watching the fight as it's going on in like a boxing type of ring, and they are meeting. By the way, this is a spoil. As I said, I think already, this is a spoiler-filled episode. So if you haven't seen it, by all means, don't watch it. Just come back later. I think this is interesting. This is very interesting. I like so Mando and the Cyclops guy, the guy has one eye, are talking. I guess they're kind of negotiating. I don't think they don't really negotiate for long, as you could see while you watch the scene. Uh, so but it's well done. I love the scenery. I love the scenery of this episode, and it just kind of shows what kind of world the Mandalorian is supposed to be, as Jon Favreau kind of said he would have this world be, which is kind of an outlaw spaghetti western type of world. By the way, Jon Favreau directed this episode, so overall, I thought that was very interesting, leading into what I thought this episode was. So, okay, they're done negotiating. I'm at that part, and they all have guns on him, so they want to take his armor and just not negotiate with him. Gonna skip past all that stuff. Mando got in a fight with the guy and his goons. Mando won against his goons in the building. The Cyclops guy is trying to get away. He runs. Mando ends up catching him, and he puts him like on some kind of a street light and has him hanging upside down. And he threatened to kill him unless he didn't give him the information. So the guy caved, and he thought he was going to live, but Mando ended up killing him, which was by shooting out the light of that street light, bringing these like nocturnal, I guess, savages in to kill the guy off screen. It's actually pretty dope, and it's a nice reminder that the Mando, even though he has a soft side with Baby Yoda, he will tear you apart without thinking about it, particularly if you cross him. So I really, it was a nice introduction. I'm just gonna get to my prediction though, or my overall thought on this episode right now. I didn't think this episode was particularly good, especially with what people are saying about it online. I honestly wasn't too impressed with the whole thing. So, yeah, that's my overall take on it. I just think that I thought it was too on the nose with some things, as you'll see in the next scene when he flies into Tatooine. The guy told him to go to Tatooine with the info. So it's interesting. I like that they went back to Tatooine. I'm always cool with them going back to Tatooine, even though some people don't like it. I like it. It's fucking Tatooine. Why wouldn't you like it? That's the Star Wars planet. That is the ultimate planet of Star Wars. So Mando talks to this one character, this like ship repairer that was in season 1. I did not like her in season 1. I don't like her here. She's kind of annoying. Which was another little thing that really bothered me, like more than it should with this episode. Just little things like that bothered me with this overall viewing of the episode, and I am not too impressed by it, I must say. Yeah, I am not too impressed. I think that this character kind of needs to I don't know. I'm just not a fan of how the character's portrayed or anything like that. I did think she was annoying, even though she had a reasonable purpose of being in this episode to kind of lead Mando to the path of the plot, like give him direction of where to go. So she tells him about this town that of a Mandalorian. I guess a Mandalorian's there, so I don't know what the. Basically, she gives him info. She's looking for another Mandalorian. Mando's looking for another Mandalorian to lead him to the way of where to take Baby Yoda to his people, because that's his ultimate purpose. uh, as from the end of season one. So I, it's I just can't wait to they get rid of this goddamn character. At this point, there's an R5 cameo, which I thought was pretty cool when I first saw it. Uh, R5's with the woman in the shipyard. So Mando got a speeder bike and headed to this town. Uh, Makes it to the town. Um, and this was an interesting part. So he goes to a town in Tatooine, not very, not a very populated city, clearly. So he heads to the bar for directions of where to find this Mandalorian, and I think the bartender's like, "Oh, you mean the marshal or whatever." So, yeah. And this, people. I think people were thinking that this was supposed to be cool, with Boba Fett showing. I should say Boba Fett's armor showing up for the first time on a person on the show. But honestly, I was actually really pissed because I've been envisioning Boba Fett in this episode for a really long time, and I've been craving at the idea of him fighting Mandalorian and stuff. And you know what? He looked tiny. He looked tiny when you first saw him. He looked super skinny when you first see him on screen. Now that I look at it, it does look like the Boba Fett from that you see in the original Star Wars episode. So I could see where people thought it was confusing. So that is pretty interesting. Huh. Wow. So yeah, they're interacting at the bar. The marshal who's wearing the Boba Fett armor and Mando. And so the marshal takes Boba Fett's helmet off, and it ends up being Timothy Oliphant, who I am going to guess is going to be a recurring character on this, particularly for this season at least. I think I love the idea of a martial version of Timothy Oliphant being in this show. I think that's a very smart and sweet idea. Yeah, I think they're trying to. Mando's trying to tell him to get. So basically, they almost got into blows. I don't want to really talk detail here. It's more of a review, but they almost went to blows, almost went to firing each other at the bar because Mando wanted the armor very aggressively. But suddenly there is a shake of an earthquake in the town. And very slowly you could see that some type of giant sand creature is coming up through the sand and is about to, I guess, uh, lay some destruction in the city. Thankfully, he doesn't destroy a whole lot, but he does end up eating like one of the massive cattle creature things that they have. I don't know the names of any of this stuff. That sucks. Let's see here. Let's keep going. But it's pretty cool visual seeing the this what we now know as the crate dragon that swims, basically like the creatures from like Tremors and Dune that move in the sand. They basically go and they eat. They're carnivores and they eat whatever they run across to. So the crate dragon ends up eating the giant cattle and ends up swimming away in the sand to what we find out later is like his home cave. So they come with a compromise to kill that thing, and then they'll give him the armor. We find out as they're driving to kill this giant beast that that Timothy Oliphant ends up getting the armor by running out of town, or I think he crashes. I don't know what happens, but he ends up running into a Jawa ship. The Jawa the Jawa ship finds that he has some sort of like a number of crystals. The Jawas really want the crystals, and they offer him anything to get those crystals. Timothy Oliphant. Timothy Oliphant, he just saw Boba Fett's armor. So the Jawas had Boba Fett's armor in the ship, so that was pretty dope. So Boba Fett definitely got out of the Sarlacc pit. You could guess from there. I didn't guess from there though, so that's pretty interesting. Um, but that's how Timothy Oliphant got the armor, and he ended up going back to the town actually and killing a number of like mining soldiers that took over his town very brutally, and he got it. He took back over the town relatively easily. Why am I summarizing this entire story? God damn. As I'm trying to go through this here, you have, okay, Timothy Oliphant and Mando, they end up running into the Sand People in the cliffs. You find out Mando apparently spent time in Tatooine to where he was able to communicate effectively with Sand People. So that was interesting. Communicating with Sand People, that sounds nice. Like, for sure you won't get killed if you're able. You could talk your way out of getting killed, so that's nice. And well, one thing led to another at that point. Mando ended up and Timothy Oliphant ended up convincing the townspeople of Timothy Oliphant's town and the Sand People, who were at odds at the time, to take down the Krayt Dragon in the Krayt Dragon's new home of the cave, which was a Sarlacc. A Sarlacc lived there, so it was a Sarlacc pit. But the Krayt Dragon ended up probably eating that Sarlacc that was in the pit, so it was now the Krayt Dragon's home. No Baby Yoda. Not a lot of Baby Yoda in this episode, which was unexpected. Unexpected, quite frankly. There wasn't a lot of Baby Yoda jokes. Not a lot of that stuff. I mean, Baby Yoda, they talk. I think people are really expecting Baby Yoda to be featured in this world or in this season, particularly because one, he's the co-star, but two, he's easily the most beloved character in The Mandalorian. It's not even close. And I think he's probably the most beloved character in modern era Star Wars. Sequel era Star Wars. By far, I think. Even when you include all the characters in episodes 7 and 9 and 8, Baby Yoda still is the most popular character. He's more popular than any of the characters in those movies. And so it was pretty unexpected that Baby Yoda really was rather quiet, and he wasn't really featured a lot in this episode. So, or at least he didn't have a lot of lines and memorable moments. He kind of stayed in the back way a little bit. I do have to say the Krayt Dragon in this episode, when we're watching this again, it reminded me a lot of what was it? As the Krayt Dragon eats a Tusken Raider. It reminded me a lot of the face. Particularly reminded me of a Rancor. It reminded me of a giant Rancor-like snake almost, and that's pretty interesting. And it would I feel like it would kind of make sense because Rancors, in an evolutionary sort of way, or Rancors, they live in Tatooine as well. There's that Rancor in Jabba's palace, but Jabba could have also just brought in the Rancor in different brought it in from a different planet. Jabba was a wealthy man. I was going to do something, but I'll do it when this episode. So once I go through the whole episode. Um, Crate dragons, as I pause here, crate dragons are apparently they. I didn't think they were canon. I had a big thought in my head. It was like, man, why do we have to have another monster? You know, a big baddie monster that ended up eating another big baddie monster from the older generations. It's always a new generation thing has to be better than the old generation thing. And I was starting. I think that was another reason why I was getting mad at this episode. But that ended up not being the case. Uh, this the Krayt Dragon is not a brand new creature that's just introduced in this modern era of Star Wars. In fact, the Krayt Dragon has been talked about since Episode 4. Since Episode 4 came out, uh, when R2 and 3PO, when they first land on Tatooine, they could see a giant like dragon-like skeleton on the sand as they're walking around, and before the Jawas get them, it's and that ends. In fact, it looks like it's some sort of a baby crate dragon, which is pretty cool. I learned that from a talk show I watched, so that's pretty interesting. Um, so yeah, I didn't think the crate dragon was honestly that cool though. I thought it looked like a rancor, a snake, a giant snake version of a rancor. That's what I thought it looked like. Or even maybe like a Moby Dick whale, but it's like I don't know, a tremor. It's I don't know. It wasn't that cool. Um, so the townspeople and the Tusken Raiders they work together uh, to get this thing out. I'm gonna just skip a bunch of scenes here. Loading music. Oh. So what happens is uh, the townspeople and the Tusken Raiders, and the main cast of characters amongst the group, they all grab these bombs that's in the town, or these explosive-like devices. They load them up on the Tusken Raiders' cattle, and they all journey onto the cave of the Krayt Dragon. That's where the big action scene takes place. They set up a trap for the Krayt Dragon. Krayt Dragon almost went back to its cave before the Raiders and before they all before they get him back again, but they ended up shooting at him, and so that kept the Krayt Dragon out. Krayt Dragon was out enough to where the trap was set, and they exploded the Krayt Dragon from below in the stomach. Ended up not killing the Krayt Dragon. Let's see. The effects of the Krayt Dragon were pretty cool. I mean, the budget's not very big for the Mandalorian, but you know what? They really work with what they have very well. I didn't like the acid quality of the Krayt Dragon. Like it can spew acid all of a sudden. I thought that was a little bit too. You didn't need to add that. I thought that was a little much. That was one step too far. Why can't just a giant ass Rancor dragon be enough? It has to be. No, he has to spit acid too. I'm surprised the Krayt Dragon didn't kill each of the townspeople and Tusken Raiders one by one when they were all attacking them. So next, Krayt Dragon went on the attack again. And Mando ended up laying a trap for the Krayt Dragon by having it eat the cattle. by having it eat a cattle, and the Mandalorian went in it, I think inadvertently, as we'll see, as I'm seeing here. Um, it's funny, like he ended up getting Timothy Oliphant out of harm's way by hitting the Boba Fett armor, and Timothy Oliphant ended up flying off away from him, which is reminiscent of, I believe, Luke hitting some one of the main characters in Return of the Jedi. I don't know if it was Chewie, Han, or Luke. They ended up hitting Boba Fett's armor on Jabba's ship, and Boba Fett ended up flying off, and that's how he went into the Sarlacc pit. So it's kind of they paid homage back to Return of the Jedi there. Um, Sarlacc pit ate the cattle that Mando was next to, and Mando, but the Sarlacc pit came out. Mando flew out right in the nick of time, and as the cattle had explosives on him, that's when Mando pressed the button when the cattle was inside the Krayt Dragon. Krayt Dragon exploded from the inside, and that killed the Krayt Dragon. And at that point, that's where Mando got his armor. The effects, I got to give it more credit. I got to watch this episode again because I really feel like I was picky with this episode. And I don't want to be picky, but I just was picky. As we're seeing here. Yep, Krayt Dragon's dead. Tusken Raider. So yeah. So that's that. Krayt Dragon's dead. Mando got the armor from Timothy Oliphant because that was part of the deal. When the Krayt Dragon dies, that's when the Timothy Oliphant would give the armor back. I think Timothy Oliphant's going to be back again. You don't hire a big-time actor like Timothy Oliphant just to put him in one episode. Like, I know this is The Mandalorian, and I know this is a very highly sought-after thing because it's affiliated with Star Wars. Every actor in the world would probably sign on for something, but before I get to the last shot of this episode, a funny thing happened here. John Leguizamo was the Cyclops mob boss I believe, in the very first scene of this episode. So it was just a cameo casting that nobody knew about until the credits rolled with this episode. So Mando drives off back to his ship and out of the planet, but before he gets there to the ship, we see the final shot of this episode. Here we go. Mando flying, or Mando driving, and from the distance, you see a hooded figure with some sort of weapons. I don't know what those are. Weapons. And yes. Oh yeah. You see Boba Fett. I believe it's Boba Fett. We don't know for sure. We see Boba Fett. I'm going to say it's Boba Fett. Boba Fett looking at Mando from the distance on a hill in Tatooine and Tatooine sand, and then he walks off, facing the camera and walking off screen. I mean, so it looks like Boba Fett's alive. It looks like Boba Fett has survived the Sarlacc pit. I think that's the most underlooked part of this episode by a criminal mile. You know how many years Star Wars fans have been speculating of whether or not Boba Fett has survived the Sarlacc pit? You know how many fucking years? Alexa, when did I don't know how many years. Alexa, never mind. I gotta ask you. Alexa, stop. Alexa, when did Return of the Jedi come out? Alexa, when did Return of the Jedi come out?
The film Star Wars, Episode 6, Return of the Jedi was released about 37 years ago on May 25th, 1983.
Yeah, We're almost at the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi. That's pretty crazy. But you know, we have waited for almost 40 years to find out whether or not Boba Fett survived the Sarlacc pit. That's a pretty fucking long time for movie history. And this is, nobody's talking about it. Nobody seems to care as much as I thought. That's sad. That's a fucking disappointment. And I feel like Disney's not pushing that enough. It's like, he survived the Sarlacc pit. He survived. And I was like, they're like, no mention. Barely any mention. And I get they're not trying to spoil it, but you know what? They should have had this trending on fucking Twitter, then some. Or at least they should do it now, because it's been a few days. People should have had some time, an hour of their time to watch this if they really want to see The Mandalorian. So fans have had enough time to watch this to not get spoiled. You know, I think it's huge. This is easily the biggest story from at least maybe the season, but definitely this episode, and by a country mile. And it's just sad that nobody seems to be talking about it, which I think has people speculating, is this really Boba Fett? Because, obviously Boba Fett is a clone, and there were millions like him in the Clone Wars. At this point, though, at least 99% of the clones, though, have died out. I mean, either by war or by more, just by the aging process of the clones, which I've heard. I don't know for sure, but I've heard that it's a quicker aging process than by normal humans. So I don't know I really fucking hope it's Boba Fett. I hope so, because if this is Captain Rex, I am going to be pissed. I am going to be ultra pissed that this won't be Boba Fett. This better be Boba Fett. This better be Boba Fett, damn it. You know how long I've been waiting? Ever since Mandalorian ended in season 1. It's been like a year, bro. Boba Fett better be this guy at the end of this episode. Not fucking Captain Rex from the Clone Wars, the animated TV show. Fuck that. No. Boba Fett. That's what I want. Oh, man. It better be Boba Fett. And this show's called The Mandalorian. I know he's technically not a Mandalorian. Like, I don't think Mandalorian's not a race, though. It's like a Kree. It's a group. It's a pledging group of soldiers, of like, not even soldiers, like warriors, that follow a code. So, but Jango Fett was a Mandalorian. I'm pretty sure he was, or at least he was called that in episode 2. So I'm pretty sure he's a Mandalorian. Boba Fett, like, was bred to be like Jango. He emulated Jango, so he wants to follow the same way as Jango, and he's pretty much a warrior. He's a trained killer at this point. He just needs to follow the code of being a Mandalorian, I think. So I think this is not just an arc for the story of the Mandalorian, and granted, that's obviously the main arc of this show. It's called The Mandalorian. But Boba Fett, I'm getting a really sneaky feeling that Boba Fett could get a character arc of this show, which is really cool because he's getting like a character arc on not just multiple TV shows, if that would be the case, but also from an arc that's continuing from the movie part of Star Wars, of Episode 2. So the character arc of Boba Fett, if that would be the case, would span many generations of Star Wars, multiple generations. And I think that kind of arc storytelling for a character, that's pretty special. That's pretty cool. So, people are thinking that if this is Boba Fett, that Boba Fett will end up being in maybe 1 or 2 episodes this season. Like, I think some people are thinking that. I really fucking hope not. My hope is that Boba Fett will will run into Moff Gideon and his stormtrooper like army, the remaining stormtroopers that are left, and he's gonna because that's all what Boba Fett remembers, from his death. I don't know. You can't even say that. You can't even say that's all he remembers, because we don't know how long Boba Fett has been out of the Sarlacc pit. He could have been out immediately after it happened. It could have been like the Jabba's ship journeyed off. Um, I think, yeah, Jabba's ship journeyed off after the fight around the Sarlacc pit in Episode 6 was over, and uh, Boba Fett immediately got himself out of that Sarlacc pit. Or, it could have been years that Boba Fett was in there. I don't know how they would write that, honestly. I think the former is the better uh, explanation of what will happen as to how Boba Fett exited out of the Sarlacc pit. But it's interesting. What has Boba Fett done all these years? Why is he still in the sand of Tatooine? And that's where people, that's where at least one person I've been hearing is thinking that this isn't Boba Fett. Like maybe this is Captain Rex. So maybe it's the characters from the Star Wars Rebels TV series who are still around that are observing Mando because they sense something. So I'll be right back, guys. One sec. So all the Rebels characters, I think that it's going to be interesting. If this isn't Boba Fett that we see at the end of this episode, then first off, that would really, really be fucking shitty. I would really, really be pissed off if it wasn't Boba Fett. But if it wasn't, and if this was Captain Rex, I think that it would be interesting because it means all the Star Wars Rebels characters that are around, they clearly seem to be keeping an eye on Mando and the kid as they're journeying around. Because obviously you had Sabine, or I think it's Sabine, whoever Sasha Banks is playing in this show, she's eyeballing Mando as I'm looking at this. But and Ahsoka Tano is going to be on this show as well. Is Captain Syndulla going to be here too? I don't know. That's going to be interesting. Who's the guy? Who is the creature like thing in Star Wars Rebels? Forgot its name. But is Chomp going to be in this episode too, or this season 2? It remains to be seen. I think the more the better explanation here is Boba Fett being here. I just think that it makes more sense. People want to see it more. That's what it looks like more. Please have it be Boba Fett. I'm begging you. Just please, no bullshit here. Don't play the fans like that. And plus, since if it is Captain Rex is like 20 years older than Boba, so he would be like 70. He'd have like white in his hair and all that stuff. So, and plus he didn't have a scar like this Boba Fett does here. So, yeah, there you go. That's what I think what will happen. I think Boba Fett's going to be a very big player here, and it'll be interesting to watch. Very interesting to watch. And I like that I don't know what's happening in the next episode either, because it seems like he's going to now try to find this world, and I don't know why he needed the armor. If the that's the one part I don't get about this plot. Why did he need Boba Fett's armor? If I thought he was looking for the Mandalorian himself, not the armor. So I guess I'll find that out, or I'll read about that in the future. But that's my overall thoughts on this episode. Looking at it now, I have a fonder eye of it now than I did in the first one. I think with the first episode, I had those really picky, predetermined expectations when watching it, and I made some unfair criticisms toward it. I think that's definitely something that played a factor. But I do think there were a couple things that were just weren't that good. Like I don't like that character in the airport of Tatooine. I think she's overplayed. Um, I thought the story about teamwork and stuff was a little bit interesting, considering that we're in an election. Like that's the story that they decided to come up with now. Like the election's tomorrow. So I don't know. I that put a bad taste in my mouth, quite frankly. So the timing of it wasn't very good. But maybe looking back on it, I'll have a fonder look at it at that point. So once the election's tomorrow. So, but still, like I'll even if I watch it now, I will have those uh, heightened expectations kind of taken out of me from the first episode. And upon reviewing this, I think it's helping. I think this is helping me kind of wash away those unreasonable expectations. But besides that, I thought the episode was good. So I'm very much looking forward to what we'll see on the next episode, which I know nothing about, and I love that shit. I love that Jon Favreau keeps us in the dark about this. I'm very cool with that. A couple quick things before I go. I wanted to mention a couple Easter eggs that I noticed off the bat, or one I heard about, the other I noticed. The first one, R5. R5 made his appearance in the airport. I think I mentioned that earlier. But when you take a look at R5, you'll see that R5 had his blown gasket on the back of the top part of its head from Episode 4 when R5 blew the gasket and R2D2 was given to Luke in that case. So I like that, even though it was kind of eye candy. He didn't bring anything to the plot. I very much liked that R5 was in this episode. I also liked. I heard about this cameo. I'll have to go way back here. On the 13-minute mark, apparently Sam Witwer, from who voices Darth Maul in both the Clone Wars and Rebels, and I believe he also voices Emperor Palpatine too on those shows. He was featured as, I guess, an extra, or he was in a cameo around the 13-minute mark of this show, so I'll have to watch it here. Also, Sam Witwer played Jaden from no, not Jaden. He played Starkiller from The Force Unleashed and The Force Unleashed 2, respectively. I grew up playing The Force Unleashed, so I have a soft spot for Sam Witwer. Let's take a look at this. I'll take a look and kind of narrate. Okay, so 13 is around the 13-minute mark is around when Mando enters into the town of where the Marshal lives. He's looking around, trying to find Sam Witwer. Ah, there he is. Okay, he's around the 13 minutes and 7-second mark, I want to say. Let's see, 13 minutes. Yep, 13 minutes and 6 seconds is where he's at. So, pretty cool cameo there. Pretty cool. And with that, I think that is pretty much it for this review. Good episode. Looking forward to episode 2. My question, though, is what do you guys think of this episode? Did you guys like it more than I did? Particularly when I first watched it. I was kind of overly harsh on it. Did you guys like it? Are you looking forward to episode 2? What do you think of Boba Fett being back, I believe, on this in this show, The Mandalorian? I think it's long overdue. Is that what you guys think? Leave your comment and like on this video. Leave a comment to tell me your thoughts. Subscribe and watch all my other videos while you're at it. Until then, may the Force be with you guys. Catch you on the burn side. I feel like I'm I feel like I'm discombobulated almost. I didn't take anything. I don't know. I'm just distracted with everything here. But there you go. Catch you on the Burnside, guys. I will see you in episode 2, review of The Mandalorian. See you then.